that you have. So now let's talk about the cardinal directions a little bit more. When we look out over the horizon, we see the sun rise in the morning in the east, right? Then the sun keeps moving upward until it reaches its highest point at noon, which is north. Then it comes back to the horizon again, but this time on the other side, where it sets in the evening, and that direction is west. The sun then continues to progress until it reaches its lowest point at midnight, which is the south. And these are the 4 waypoints that the sun traverses over the course of a day. Now, each of the 4 elements is actually rooted to a particular cardinal direction, right? The element of fire is rooted to the east because the east is where the sun rises, right? It's the time of awakening when we get invigorated with life, we get new ideas and ambitions for the day. The element of water is above us because as we go through the day, we can welcome abundance into our life, right? We receive opportunities that allow our life to grow and prosper. The element of air comes in the evening when the sun sets, right? Because we are done with work, we want to relax and have some fun. We chat with friends and family and we see what else the evening has in store for us. And then the element of earth is anchored to the ground below us because it's at night when we are more connected to the earth actually than at any other time, right? We lay down for hours and get recharged with energy and vitality. So now that same motion of the sun, that actually also happens in the course of a year, right? Now we don't look at the horizon anymore as the observer of our environment, but we look at it actually from the viewpoint of the sun moving above and below the equator, right? Which actually creates the zodiac space. So when the sun rises above the equator, we call that the spring equinox and eastern direction. The sun then continues to move until it reaches the highest point, the northern solstice, or the northern direction. Then the sun changes direction and moves back towards the equator until it reaches the autumnal equinox or the western direction. And then finally it continues onward and reaches the southern solstice or the southern direction. Now, when we are talking about the zodiac, fire is in the east. That's where the zodiac starts, and it represents us, our light that we have come to share with the world, okay? We all can be light for others, right? Depending on our merit, some of us will have more or less influence, but we're all here to contribute to society through our unique talents and gifts. And to express our authentic self, the universe actually gives us resources to build our kingdom and reward us for our efforts. And that's why the earth element is below our feet, to give us that facility, security, and opportunity. Our success in the world is really dependent on how much we are able to cultivate harmonious relationships, which are represented by the air signs in the western direction, right? The air signs are opposite the fire signs. And in the mirror of our relationships, we can really see who we are. And we also have the opportunity to give up what we don't like about ourselves. And we can learn how to love and be loved, okay? Now, this is possible when we can access our inner source of emotional strength, because then we can overcome any type of bad habits, right? We can undergo inner change, healing, and growth into the person that we wish to be, right? But for that, we need those water signs in the northern direction, right? Because they really represent those higher, healthy, positive energies of the universe that we need to connect to in order to heal ourselves, right? Because they allow us to ultimately, grow into that, joyful, complete self. Next, we can actually associate the 4 cardinal directions and their elements with all the signs, okay? So we can associate the initiative fire, Aries, with the east, and then we also know that the other 2 fire signs, Leo and Sagittarius, they will also be the east. Then the movable water sign Cancer is the north, and then the other 2 water signs, Scorpio and Pisces, they will also be north. The air sign Libra and the other 2 air signs, Aquarius and Gemini, they will be west. And finally Capricorn and the other 2 earth signs, Taurus and Virgo, right? They will be the south. Now, before we get into an example, we also need to actually figure out the other directions, right? Because there's in total 8 of them. There's not just 4, that we also need to figure out the intermediary directions. So let's check this out in an example in a personal chart, right? Let's say you have lost something. Let's say your mobile phone, you can't find it anymore, you misplaced it somewhere at home. Mobile phones, they're ruled by the 3rd house. So now you take the 3rd lord, and let's say the 3rd lord is in Aries. And so we know that Aries is the east, right? But now the ruler of Aries, Mars, is in Capricorn, which is, the south. And so now you are going to look for your mobile phone in the southeastern direction of your home. So what we do is we basically combine the sign that the planet is in, and also the lord of that sign, and where he and the sign that he is in, to find out what direction something is in. Okay, and if we get the opposite direction, let's say like south and north, then that lets us know that it is not in any direction, right? It is just right where it is expected to be, right? It's sort of in that same general location. So for your mobile phone, that means it's on the table where you left it, okay? It's sort of where where it should be, but you just might not see it, right? Perhaps you accidentally, you moved it sort of behind or under a stash of papers or something like that, right? But if the item isn't in the same place, then you can figure it out, through the direction and the intermediate directions, okay? And also, like, if I want to find the direction for moving to another city, I usually actually use color chakra dasha for that, and I use exactly those directions of the elements of the signs, right? The fire signs, they reside in the east, the water signs in the north, the air signs in the west, and the earth signs reside in the south, and I also take the intermediary directions. However, when I use the Vimshottari dasha, I found actually gives better results to use another schema of directions, which is actually the scheme of directions that the South Indian chart is based upon, okay? And here we can consider Aries and Taurus rule the east, Gemini the northeast, Cancer and Leo the north, Virgo the northwest, sorry. Libra and Scorpio the west, Sagittarius the southwest, Capricorn and Aquarius the west, and Pisces the southeast, okay? So this is, as I said, this is really the scheme of directions that is based on the South Indian chart. And this is another way that the directions can be found in the horoscope. And the way to predict the directions here is that you can use the Bhukti Lord of the Vimshottari dasha, and you check it in the D4 chart, okay? The D4 is the chart of home and moving, and What you do is there, you just look at the sign that the book deload is in, and that will show you the direction that you are going to move.